I'm glad we could talk today. Today, we want to get real with God about our situation. And when we approach God, we want to approach Him humbly, right? Not with a know-it-all attitude, we want to approach Him humbly. A lot of us are here today because we are realizing, still waiting on Boaz. Or maybe you don't call him Boaz, but you're still waiting on your future mate, right? He hasn't come yet, and you're getting older, and you're kind of wondering what's going on. Well, usually there's things that God tries to get across to us about ourselves or our lives that we just are not getting. We're not picking it up. So then He sends people like me along who He already dealt with about their own lives, and He's like, okay, now tell them. So we're all learning from each other, okay? And I want to read from this devotional by Erwin Lutzer, and he quotes D.L. Moody in this, okay? It's called Desperate for God. Because before you have a relationship with a man, you need to first have an established and sound relationship with God, okay? There's no getting around that. And you can't manipulate your way into it. You can't rush God into it. You can't try to be nice with God to get a man. Just stop. Just stop all this stuff. Get to know God generally for yourself. And then you'll be able to, you see what I'm saying? See what blessings He has for your life in particular. Because not everybody's life is the same. Not everybody's going to be getting everything at the same time. Everybody's at different life stages. Everybody has different purpose. So let's stop comparing, okay? It says here, this is a quote from D.L. Moody. I sometimes tremble when I hear people quote promises and say that God is bound to fulfill those promises to them when all the time there's some sin in their lives they're not willing to give up. It is well for us to search our hearts and find out why it is that our prayers are not answered. Okay, so I know a lot of us feel like we're ready. I've been there. I know a lot of us feel like there's nothing wrong with me. I've already repented. I fasted. I laid before God. I did the Esther fast. I did the Daniel fast. I did the fast. And once again, I've been there too. But what's funny is even after all these fasts, okay, there's still more. That's the reality. There is so much in you that you didn't realize that God has to dig up and dig out to clean up your soul so that you are not a broken and wounded person marrying or attracting and then marrying another broken and wounded person. And then we go through the cycle of, why did God let me marry him? Why did God stop me? Well, you didn't invite him in, and next thing you know, like attracts like, not all the time, most of the time, and next thing you know, we're sad and brokenhearted, and God really would prefer less brokenhearted people, right? So then He tries to educate us, okay, beforehand. And sometimes the education takes longer than we expected, but I mean, here's the reality. Would you rather God be the one teaching you what you need to know so that you don't make the same mistakes of the past or of those in your family? Or would you rather just figure it out on your own, mess up 10 times, and then crawl back to God and have to start at square one? Let's not be stubborn anymore. This is a new year. It's a new way. It's time for you to stop being unnecessarily single, because God wants to bless you with marriage. We see it's a desire of your heart, especially those of us who have pure hearts about it, like the right reasons. Okay? But there's things you have to address with him, and that's in your quiet time. You don't come on here, you tell about your sin, and I see people do that. Oh, I struggle with this sin, and don't be like me. They should not have put that up online, because, you know, it's not good, okay? I don't want to go into detail, but don't watch stuff like that. That's not the way to go about things. You need to have your own relationship with God without needing to record and always vent everything. It's really not right. You should have a private relationship with Jesus. You don't need to be on here telling all your business. So what you can ask him is this prayer, and I prayed it, and I would like you to pray this as well, because when you pray this, that invites God in to your situation to be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, now she's willing to hear from me, and don't run out of his presence. Wait a little bit, okay? And see what he has to say. God doesn't want to hurt you, but he gotta be real with you. The only way for you to get to point B, which is getting married, is to face point A, okay? So we're doing this together. Let's look at the prayer. And you just repeat after me. God, I open my life to you. Search me and show me what you see. Grant me the humility to be able to admit who I am so I can become who you want me to be. I give myself to you unreservedly. So, you know, when you pray that, you're doing what David did and was like, search my heart and tell me what's going on so we can get it right, right? And then we get it right, we can move on. And sometimes moving on isn't just jumping, you get a man. I don't care how many stories you heard about. As soon as she got over her broken heart, she just walked out the front door and met her husband, and they're married now 50 years. I don't want to hear it. Let's be real. And don't believe every story you tell online, that people tell online, okay? So what we want to say is, you let him tell you what the issue is, and he's going to dig up stuff. Like I said, I've done almost all the fasts I can think of, except the Daniel one. And you know what? There's still more that he brings up. Like, that's the issue. There's unforgiveness here. There's pride here. There's this, that. You know what I'm saying? There's always something to work on. And it's like, why is it so hard? Like, I just want to, like, get married. Like, I didn't know it was that big of a deal. Yeah, it is a really big deal. I heard this lady say today, she said, the most powerful union here on earth outside your relationship with God is marriage, okay, between man and woman. So, since that's the case, this is quite serious to God. It's actually a ministry, okay? So, it's a covenant, but it's a ministry, right? And you can't just go in there. Like, for example, if you never applied, well, say you never went to school to be a doctor. Let's just make that, we've heard this scenario before. You cannot just show up in the operating room, okay? I mean, doctors and surgeons are different. So let's just say surgery. You haven't ever gone to school for that. And you cannot just show up, like you heard somebody's getting surgery, you're like, I could do that. And you go in there and you just pick up some random tools and you crazy. You're gonna end up right in jail. Oh boy, don't do that. So basically, you needed to prepare for it first. It doesn't matter how much you wanted to be a surgeon. You cannot go in there and guess, because this is very serious. This is someone's life. And that's the same with marriage. This is a whole other person outside of you. You think you a mess? Imagine them. And yeah, they look good. Okay, when you get past it. I'm getting delivery. Hold on. That was the sound of the Amazon guy. You should have heard it. So many packages. You know, Amazon girls, you know what I'm talking about. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. So you know what that thing is. And if you don't, God's going to point it out to you. And it might not always be right away. You have to continually spend time with him. And you have to really give him full surrender. That's the reality I want you to face. You have to give him a full surrender. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it can't be a little scary. But honestly, God is for you, ladies. I don't know. Like, you might as well, right? The more you hold it back, you know, you're wasting time, okay? We want you to get married this year. You don't need to wait any longer. So get real with God. tell him what it is. It could even be like past hurt. Maybe you still hurt and you're like hoping that this will be different, and you didn't really like heal from the pain. You didn't take time to forgive that person. You didn't take time to forgive yourself, right? So we can't just ask God to give us a man, give him our list, like he's, I guess a genie. So give him the list and, have him deliver it to us on a day that we prefer. It doesn't work like that, okay? This is serious. This is somebody's soul, their whole other person. They got their own past. They have their own family line. They have their own childhoods. It's a lot. Okay, maybe you're like, I already knew that. I've been in relationships before. I already know that. Yeah, but you don't know everything, and it's different when you're married. Okay, and once you're married, you know what I'm saying. That's it. So you want to choose wisely. How can you choose wisely? By spending time with God. How do I spend? What do I do? Just sitting there? Well, if you have a hard time getting into His presence, then put on some music, right? Like the Bible app is literally called Bible app. If you don't know, it's a brown cover in the App Store on both iPhone and Android. It has meditation music, right? Not that type of meditation, but regular Christian meditation music to in God's presence. Or you could type in Yeshua instrumental. I like that one. You see what I'm saying? Like, or you could put on worship music. Maybe you need to sing as you enter His presence. Maybe you prefer to journal and sit there and journal as you talk to Him that way. Maybe you need a prayer closet. There's many different things you can do, and there's very little time for excuses. God is on your side, but it's time for you to be on yours. I'll be back with more information, but you're gonna want to keep watching these videos because we're trying to help you go from point A, to point B, from single to married. And the only way is by humbling yourself before God and telling Him, I need you. I need your help. I need to get fixed. I thought I was good, but there's clearly something else. There's stuff I'm still holding on to, and I want to get it straight so I could be the best version of me when I meet the man of God you have for me. I'll see you next time. God bless.